Today's review is Daredevil from 2003. It's directed by Mark Steven Johnson. It stars Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. The movie starts off with young Matt Murdock. He is the son of a former boxer named Jack the Devil Murdock. While he is coming home from school, he sees his dad. He's beating up a civilian, and he becomes frightened by it, and he runs away. Jack chases after him, but what Matt doesn't know is that there is a forklift truck about to run him over, so the truck slams on the brakes, and it narrowly misses Matt. But what happens is that the truck, it runs into a container of radioactive chemicals, and the containers explode, and the radioactive chemicals get into Matt's eyes, and therefore he becomes blind. So he wakes up in the hospital, his father's there, he feels guilty about it. So together they go on a comeback mission to never give up, get back to where they were before all of this. So Matt Murdock, he starts learning to read Braille, his other four senses have been heightened, and Jack is working on his boxing skills. But their comeback mission, it comes to a halt. So one day while Jack is training for his fight, one of Kingpin's associates, he comes into the locker room and he has Jack lose a fight for him. He says it's time for Jack's turn to take a fall. But Jack refuses and he wins his fight. While Jack and Matt are walking home, Kingpin's thugs, they grab Jack and then they beat him to death, and Matt is looking over his body, crying. It kind of reminded me of Batman from Batman Begins 2005. It gives you a kind of a Batman vibe. So Matt Murdock, he vows to get justice and revenge. So we go to modern day. Matt Murdock, he is a district attorney who prosecutes criminals. In the 90s, Daredevil, who's a crime fighter. In this movie, he tries to go after the Kingpin, the man that hired the people to kill his father. As far as my thoughts on Daredevil goes, I like the Daredevil costume. It's classic. I like Ben Affleck. I like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. I like the fight between Daredevil and Kingpin. I like the fight between Daredevil and Bullseye. I like Foggy Nelson, Jon Favreau. He's in this movie. Director of Iron Man. I thought he was alright. I like the interactions that Daredevil has with Elektra. So there's a couple of redeeming qualities to this movie. As far as my criticisms goes, there's not really a lot of things in this movie to criticize. The only thing is this movie doesn't really have a plot to it. It just goes from one point to another point to another. So it goes from the origin to Matt Murdock being a prosecutor, to him being Daredevil, to him meeting Elektra, and then there's the ending. I like the interaction between Daredevil and Elektra, but once you start getting to know them, once they start diving into their relationship, Elektra gets killed, and Daredevil has to go after the Kingpin, and that's how the movie ends. Do I think this movie is bad as what the critics have said? No. I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, like Spider-Man, X-Men, or Blade, but I would say this movie is more in love with Hulk 2003, Ghost Rider 07, Fantastic Four movies, and movies along those lines. Because Daredevil, he's not really a well-known character like a Ghost Rider. So I don't expect this movie to be completely insane. So as far as my rating for this movie, I'll give it a 7. It's okay. If you're a Marvel fan and you grew up when this film was released, I think you might find some enjoyment out of this. I enjoy it too. But, it's okay. There's not really much of a plot. There's not really much going on here for me to grasp. Again, there's a lot of things that I like. I like the origin of Daredevil. I like Affleck. I like Garner. I like their interactions, like Bullseye and Kingpin. There's not really a lot of things that I don't like. It's just that there's not much to grasp on. So Daredevil's okay. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.